Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this young lady back. It's Simona Mangiante Papadopoulos. She is joining us from Italy. I just love it when you travel in the world, you always make time for us. Simona, how are you?
Hi, Joe. It's always a pleasure to connect from Italy with you. You know, the bridge with Italian American heritage and Italy from Italy. So it's always special for
I
people
ab-
here.
no, I absolutely love it. I know that your mom likes it. My mom likes it. You know, our families, understand that we got a couple of Italian people on television. What's funny to me is that you hit the ground in Italy or Greece or wherever you happen to go. And as soon as you hit the ground, you're on TV somewhere. So how does that work? Do you let them know beforehand, I'm going to be in Italy from this date to that date? And they're like, let's do it the first day. Because immediately on Instagram, there you are with this interviewer from Italy. You're on some big Italian show. How does that work?
Well, it works that as soon as I land, Italians now are craving news from America, and
Yeah.
I have the privilege to live in between both of them. So I was in Rome, completely jet lagged, and immediately had a chance to join Sky Italia and do a follow up and update about what's going on. And I can tell you, the interviewer was a big fan of what's going on in America right now. So it was pretty happy to share the latest news with them.
Well, the last time you were in Italy, it was before the election, right? So now you're there after the election. Do you feel a change in the streets? Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they indifferent? How do they feel about what happened in November?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Joe, because Italy in general, Europe, didn't see this victory coming. They've
Really?
been brainwashed. Yes, they've been brainwashed to demonize Donald Trump and everything that his agenda represents. The most of socialist country in Europe, including France and Europe, most of the European Union member states, were being training their citizens to hate on any nationalist leader. So, including our leader in Italy, Giorgia Meloni, she didn't even see this moment coming. So when I came back just recently, they told me, you know what, Simona, you were right. Because I told them, you don't know America as I do, and I know real Americans will vote for Donald Trump. And there is
Yeah.
no doubt it will win by landslide. So they immediately wanted me on to tell me one of the two. Either you understand American politics, either you're a good fortune teller. So in both cases, you're interesting.
Well, it's probably more that you know about politics, but you could be a fortune teller as well. It's Simona Mangiante Papadopoulos. Go follow her, Simona_Mangiante_ over on Instagram. Great interviewer. She's a lawyer and, again, international traveler. She's on television all over the place. When you go there and they were so confused about what was going to happen, like half of America was confused too. They believed MSNBC and CNN. But is the media there all like MSNBC and CNN? Like the entirety of the country was surprised by this?
Well, they're not as unhinged as the ladies on The View,
Right.
but they're definitely brainwashed by the mainstream headlines. So most of the journalists here don't do any effort besides copy and paste mainstream headlines from the mainstream media in the United States. So what they caught that Kamala was actually the winning leader, though they were making fun of her. And here, once in a sudden, they see Donald Trump come back, which has been
Yeah,
one of the greatest comeback in history,
totally.
and shifting also their views on foreign policy once in a sudden. So you have their attitude now is much milder. And in the beginning, some countries were looking for why Donald Trump won. And they were trying to find all the flaws in the Democrats' campaign until they realized, and until that I told them very loud, it won because it's the best. And
Yeah.
American people saw through it.
No, and by the way, number two, Kamala Harris, it turns out, spent $2 billion. We thought it was 1.4. It was more like $2 billion and still lost. Anybody who had a brain had to know if you have that much money and you're doing that badly in the polls, then you're not the right candidate. So the people there may have been surprised, but do they realize now that this is a good thing for Italy? It's a good thing for Europe. It's a good thing for Western culture.
Well, this is the best thing ever happened to the world. We have seen recently Donald Trump at the Notre Dame opening in Paris, after has been burned last year, and you can see the first time he has been talking negotiation and
Right.
ceasefire in Ukraine, Russia. So here in Europe, we are in a totally different position than the United States. The United States lead the way, and Joe Biden lead the wrong one. So
Yes.
we have Italy and most of European countries in deep inflation for implementing those measures that are completely senseless. In Ukraine, supporting unconditionally Ukraine through military military and financial aids. But we have to understand that without the United States, none of the European Union country has the capacity and the resources to afford those aids any longer. So it's really a game changer, this victory, and mostly repositioning most of the European Union toward foreign policies moving forward.
It is Simona Mangiante Papadopoulos. Go and follow her everywhere over on X. Is it Simona Papa? What is your name on X?
Simona Mangiante, at
Okay.
Simona Mangiante.
Go follow her there, and also Simona_Mangiante_ over on Instagram. She's a great follow. I would name everything that you do, but it would take me the whole interview. So go and follow her, and you'll find out. Now, let's talk about Giorgia Meloni. You and I have talked on the air, and I think even off the air, about what's the story with Giorgia Meloni. For a while, she was this conservative person, was going to bring nationalism back to Italy, and then all of a sudden she let all the illegal immigrants come in from Northern Africa. She was doing nothing to stop them from going to, what was it, Lampedusa? Is that what it's called? Say it again? Lampedusa. So she allowed all that to happen and didn't stop it. And now all of a sudden she looks like she's coming around again. So give me your thoughts on her as a person who loves Western civilization, loves Italy, wants the nation to be strong and safe and free, and stop illegal immigrants from coming in and stealing the culture from people there. Is she coming around? Is she better now?
Well, situation in Italy is slightly improved, but there is an issue, and it's the European Union. Until Italy stays within European Union, there is not much that can be done unless we can renegotiate our access and take the immigration under our control. Giorgia Meloni definitely was voted over a wonderful platform of ideals and vision of Italy first and nationalistic values. But of course, from this moment throughout her presidency, work as a prime minister, we could see that the situation in immigration almost became worse. And this was palpable this last summer when we had this invasion from Lampedusa of all those immigrants that we were not able to send back from, the way they come from. And this was actually the time where it's important to ask questions. Does it make sense to stay in the European Union still when the price we're paying is actually the cost of our culture, and our conservative leader has been voted to preserve our culture first and foremost?
I want to stop you there because you're so smart when it comes to all this stuff. I want you to take it a little bit slower because you completely understand this. I understand it a little bit. Those watching and listening probably don't know much about the EU at all because we're so far away. So what does being part of the European Union do to a country? Does Italy not have its own? I mean, it's still Italy. It's not just some part of some big thing. But does it have no right to say, stop the illegal immigration, stop raising prices or lowering prices, stop inflation? Do you not have any autonomy at all when you're in the union?
When it comes to policies on immigration, we have one border with all the countries belonging to the European Union. So we don't have the power to reject or accept.
Really?
Within a certain extent. There is this directive in the European Union which is imposing each member state to distribute the migrants within quota among the member states. And this is obviously a very stupid rule because
it's extremely stupid, yeah.
Very stupid. Once they're in, you can't really control. And this rule is in place now for a long time. So the real and only way to face the migration issue is to renegotiate this condition of access to the European Union or exit. There is no other way.
Well, Simona, to me, it seems like if somebody broke into my house, I should be able to take action to get him out of my house. What you're saying is if they break into my house, I have to call you and ask you what I should do with them. That doesn't make any sense. That literally takes away Italy's ability to preserve its own culture and people and food and lifestyle. Why go into a deal like that? Is that why the UK left?
Exactly. You nailed it, Joe. It's exactly why UK left. When you give up control over certain policies in your country, which are so pivotal to the management of your economy, because immigration affects economy as well, safety in first place, and then also changing your culture. We are very old cultures here,
right,
in old Europe, and rooted on Jewish Christian values. These are our roots. We can't, most of our immigrants are of Muslim descendants. And we know that our rule of law conflict with most of their principles.
Totally.
And there is nothing wrong with them, implementing their principle in their home. But once
Right.
you're hosted here in my Christian country, you can't impose the hijab or any other of these rules that doesn't really belong to our culture, including the way they treat women. We have increase in the number of rapes, and Giorgia Meloni has been vocal about it. It's not about being racism or talking cliche. It's a reality. It's a fact.
Well, Simona, I would imagine that people coming from northern Africa or from the Middle East don't even like that there's a woman in charge. They don't respect her as a leader, without a doubt. So I'm glad she's being vocal about it. But what can she do about it? Like you said, you have whatever rules you want to have in your house, fine. But the old saying is literally, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And it seems as though these people will stop and put down their prayer blankets and they'll start saying prayers and slow down traffic. And as you said, rape is on the rise because women in that culture aren't the same equality as women in the Western civilization. So what can you do about it? Because you said as part of the EU, it's almost like your hands are tied.
That's exactly the problem, and thanks God, Italy is still very strong in protecting its values. So we don't allow much of this happening. This some certain behavior are criminalized. We can't, impose. For example, we had a law which wanted to criminalize the covering of your face because you need to be identified.
Yes.
This doesn't happen in other member states of the European Union. So we need to make sure that our rule of law, the core of our values and our laws, is respected. And that's the only way we can do it. At the same time, we have to manage its flaws because, quite honestly, we don't have much to offer.
No, I hear you. It is Simona Mangiante over on X. It's Simona_Mangiante_ over on Instagram. Go check out. Look, she's a great interviewer, been in several documentaries that have done very, very well. I want you to go check those out as well. I want to talk a little more about Giorgia Meloni, but I want to talk about her in this way. When she came here and met with Joe Biden, it looked very uncomfortable to me. It looked as though she was going through the steps. You have to meet the president of the United States, but he looked like he was half asleep. It was all very weird. But when she just met with Donald Trump, like a whole different attitude. She also met with Elon Musk, and many people were making memes out of that, saying, oh, why is she looking at him that way? So it appears as though she seems relieved by the new leadership in the United States. Am I reading it right?
Yes, I think she's relieved, and I hope that we'll finally will be able to give space to her real ideology, like this wonderful ally in the United States that is the leader of the free world in this moment, Donald Trump, will give her the strength to face the challenges of the socialist agenda. And, that's a relief for us in Italy, but also in Europe as a whole, because we believe that now she will be back to be the Georgia that we voted for.
Well, that would be good. So it's almost as if she needed to make sure she had the support of the world leader before she could go forth and do what she wanted to do. When you've got a weak person like Biden, he's not going to be there for you when you need to even consult with him. He's good. You're going to talk to 18 levels. With Trump, she could probably pick up the phone and call him now.
Yes, and it was a very great meeting, and even Donald Trump clearly said that she was a fantastic leader. He was really impressed by her energy, and it was really, an incredible moment. I always say that Italy finally meets America on the right side of history, and that was actually very, very nice to see.
No, it was. I love seeing it. I love seeing the video. And it just gave me a good feeling that those who are in Western civilization and Western culture now are rejoining as one, whereas though we were like separated because I believe that Biden and the Obama agenda were trying to make us globalists. It's Simona Mangiante Papadopoulos. I want to ask you about Ukraine. You're one of my favorite experts on Ukraine. You know so much about it. You've been there interviewing people that nobody else has interviewed, and I absolutely love the knowledge that I get from you. So what happens now? You got Joe Biden. He's probably going to pardon himself and his brother, and his sister, and his daughter, and his wife. He already did it for Hunter. So I think they're gonna try to get off the hook completely from that. But what changes now with the Russian invasion of Ukraine with a strong leader like Trump in office? Will he get a peace deal like he said he's gonna get?
Well, I believe this will happen. We are close to finally. I hope he will be granted a Nobel Prize for Peace, much more deserved than Obama back on time. And useless to say why. But I believe that we're very close to negotiation peace. We already discussed in ceasefire during his visit to Paris with both Zelensky and Macron. Obviously, we understand clearly that all this bloodshed could have been avoided. Basically, we will get back to diplomatic negotiation that could have been in place already before the beginning of this war.
Well, that's what's true. I want to stop you for a second because what you just said is so true. Not any bloodshed should have happened. This could have been negotiated before there was any invasion or any war. In fact, they had a deal with Minsk II that they walked away from for some reason. The West did. And then you had a deal that Boris Johnson was supposed to do in Istanbul, and he walked away from that. Do we know why they walked away? Why did they want this to happen, do you think? Just your opinion. Why do you think the globalists wanted this conflict to happen, costing us $200 billion and costing a whole generation of Ukrainian men?
Well, it's all Ukraine is a big money laundering machine, and the leader in chief, Joe Biden, has been reaching and controlling this region for geopolitical reasons already under Obama, and the entire Western Bloc, for different reasons, have back up Biden policies, and we know that money. Follow the money, you'll find the reason. Of course, Donald Trump is the only leader which doesn't follow, is not controllable by the deep state or any other forces, including financially, because he's completely well on his own. So we have finally someone is completely independent and not controllable that take the lead and make the interests of the people, the Russian people, the Ukrainian people, and first and foremost, American people. Let's be realistic. All the money we spend. Taxes, your taxes.
Oh, it's disgusting. And then all the lives that were lost as well. Simona, before I let you go, do you know why Joe Biden was put in charge of Ukraine by Obama? Do you think that the ties were there for like decades and Obama said, what do you want to do? And Biden said, you got to give me Ukraine? Because Joe Biden is not Ukrainian, doesn't speak Ukrainian, knows nothing about the region, but suddenly he was put in charge by then President Obama. Why was that?
I think it was a perfect fit for the role, for the agenda that we're trying to pursue. And already under Poroshenko, we know all the deals that Joe Biden has been doing. You know, like he's a highly corrupt leader. Now, he pardoned Hunter not because he's a good father, but to cover up for everything that Hunter case can
Well, if you pardon Hunter, I think Joe Biden thinks he pardoned himself. He didn't,
exactly.
But he thinks that he's safe because of that, right?
Yeah, he's hiding actually everything that his son business in Ukraine was leading to. He actually used his son for his own interest in many ways. And that's actually the most disturbing aspect of all this story.
Okay, well, a couple of things before we go. Send me some pasta. Send me some mozzarella, because I don't like hearing about all this great food. I'm not getting any of it over here. Can you send me some?
It will not be fresh because, mozzarella, the nice things here, you have to eat it right away.
Okay, so we'll have to go to Italy. Simona, I appreciate you making time. I know it's late at night there. Thank you for jumping in the chair. Let's do it again soon, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Right,
and hi from Italy.
Hello to everybody from America. We're back after this on the Joe Pag Show. Stay right here.